out there in YouTube land? This is Morris, man. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Today I'm going to do a short special video. I ran into one of my, I guess, musical colleagues about a week ago, and we were in one of the first professional bands that I was in, and we talked about some of the good old days. And I told him about my channel, and I appreciate him subscribing. And we talked about, some of these stories that we have encountered on the road. And he said it would probably be a good idea to share some of these stories with some of your viewers, because, it's always about educating the young folks as far as what to expect. And I said, that's a pretty good idea. So I'm going to do that. But before I do that, I'm going to just send out a few shots. Hello to Ye 8 Man. Hello to Roy. Hello to Old School Funk. Hello to Beth, hello to Michelle, and others. Sorry, I can't remember everybody's name, but I'll send out more shots in the future. I guess I'm going to start off this short video with a comment I received. And the comment basically read this, because I told everybody about, how I put duct tape on the sides of the guitar to keep those metal pieces from kind of ripping your fingers to shred. And I kind of got a disturbing comment from one of the viewers, and it basically said, that's the most ghetto thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not trying to, insult you or I'm just keeping it real. And I said, I guess apparently you don't know the definition of real, because here's the deal. When you are a professional studio musician, you play literally for hours. You can literally play for days. You can go into a studio to work on somebody's project on Monday, and you don't leave until Wednesday. How many jobs that with the exception of being a fireman, that you go to work and there for 2-3 days? It's a lot of work entailed. And your fingers get tired and sore. And you find creative ways for your hands not to get as fatigued. That's just like, when I play bass, as is heavier than a regular lead guitar. And when you're playing in the studio, it has a tendency to start slipping and sliding because it's so heavy. That neck is extended. So I came up with a way, to eliminate that. I took some sponge and I put some tape across it, and it saddles on my knee, and it stays there, And that's the same thing with the duct tape. You can play for hours and not have to worry about those scratches on your hands. So I thought I would, clear that up, because, it's not about what your guitar looks like. It's not about how much it costs. It's about the music. And unfortunately, that particular person that left that comment knows nothing about that. He knows nothing about playing 8-9 hours a day straight, The majority of the people are just people that pick up their guitar every now and then, play it, and occasionally play in a band that within 6 months the band has disbanded. So, I thought that I would take this approach as far as educating, as opposed to responding to an ignorant comment, because this basically was an ignorant comment. Because again, unless you're a professional musician, you have no idea what has to be done and how long it takes. So it's not about what your guitar looks like, because guess what? You're in the studio anyway, and no one's seeing your guitar anyway. And when you go play live, no one cares what your instrument looks like. They care about what you're doing with your instrument. So, that's why, I decided to kind of put together this video as far as some of the experiences of being a studio musician. And I remember the first professional gig that we got with a major artist, and we toured with them, and we were going to Japan. And my band was very excited, and I wasn't, because I was harvesting a secret. I have issues when it comes to flying. I guess you can call it a phobia, but then again, it's not, because it's not that when I get on a plane, I'm freaking out thinking that it's going to crash and I'm going to die. No, for some reason, my body reacts to being in high altitudes in a very weird way. It feels like my head wants to explode. And I've been to the doctors, had neurological tests, and they can't determine anything. And what they said was it's probably it's the psychological triggering the physical. You think about something that's going to be bad, and your body reacts to it. And I remember the very first time I went to Japan with one of my bands, and while on the plane, it was a very long plane ride, there were 2 individuals crying, a little tiny baby and me. And it wasn't, again, that I was crying because it was out of fear. It's just I was so uncomfortable that, I just kind of broke down. But I stuck it out because I know that my band members had depended on me. And That's one thing about band situation. It's not just about you, it's about the whole band, and that's what's most important, the band and not one of the persons. So again, when you are a professional studio musician, you play for a very long time, you know, because it's fun to play when you play for fun. You know, you pick up your guitar, you play for an hour or two, you put it away. But when you become a paid musician, it's a whole nother ballgame because it's no longer about sometimes fun, it's about the business first. And there are days that you don't really feel like playing, but you know, you've been paid and you're on the contract and you got to play for 8 hours. So you get through that. And I think a lot of the young folks that don't realize how demanding this business is, they think it's just fun and games and I'm gonna go up there, I'm gonna do my job and get paid big money. Yeah, you will get paid big money and you will do your job, but your job is very exhausting. I remember when Janet Jackson, several years ago, she passed out on stage and she was rushed to the hospital, and she was in the hospital for about a week for exhaustion because one of her lungs collapsed. Now, you tell me, when was the last time you went to your job and know anybody that went to their job and said, you know what, Joe on the job passed out because his lung collapsed. You know, they're not working Joe that hard that his lungs is going to collapse. But when you're a musician, you're touring all the time, you're tired. I mean, you literally wake up in a motel and don't know what time, what day it is and where you at. You know, that's how much you travel. You know, it's a very taxing business, and I want you young folks to realize that again, it's not fun and games. You know, it's hard work. But I think the reason why most of us do it because we love doing it. You know, it's not even so much about the money, because when I first started playing and people thought I was crazy, even my band members and the people that was booking us for clubs dates, and I said, you know, I'll play for free, you know, because money ain't my issue. You know, I've been fortunate enough where money's not my issue. I just want to play. I just want to get in front of an audience and just play, you know, and everybody thought I was crazy because their priorities were kind of, you know, misplaced, and mine was, it's about the music first and foremost, you know. So I thought that I would put together this video based on that statement that I got about the duct tape, because again, you know, when sometimes people make comments and have no idea what they're talking about because they've never done this on a professional level. And when you're doing a professional level, it's a whole nother level. Because again, you can literally play for 8-9 hours straight a day. You know, you get a break in the studio, they bring food in and you eat, and if you need to take a nap, you go somewhere and lay down and come back. You know, the musicians out there that are seasoned, they know what I'm talking about. And you know, it's not always a pretty thing to experience. You know, you're on the bus for 8-9 hours, you're tired, you know, you're groggy, you want to take a bath, you know, you're hungry, you know. So I just thought that I'll do a series of these videos so, you know, the young person can get a feel of what to expect when you become a professional musician. Because here's another thing, and I kind of hesitate to tell this story, but, you know, it has to be told because it can probably help somebody or save somebody. When you become a musician, whether you're the lead guy or just one of the guys in the back, people take notice, you know, and normally it's women that take notice of the guys on stage. And here are two interesting stories. I've always been kind of a quiet, shy guy. And I remember going to one of my band gigs, and I was actually not even 18, I don't think, at the time, but they got me in, and I wasn't drinking, so they didn't have a problem with me coming in and play. So I came in early for sound check, and there was these women at the bar, and there was one particular woman that caught my eye. And I mustered up enough courage to go over there and introduce myself. And she was polite. And basically she kind of said in so many words, thank you, but no thank you. And I respected that, and I backed off. So later on that night, my band got on stage, and that night they let me sing lead. You know, one of my favorite ballads is, what's the LTD Love Ballad. So I got up there and I sang my heart out. I was playing and singing like my life depended on it, because I take my music seriously. So after the show, she came up to me and gave me her number. I said, why are you giving me this? I like what you did. And I said to myself, I'm the same guy I was 3 hours ago when you blew me off. Now all of a sudden you want to give me your number. No, thank you. You know, some guys, it don't make a difference how they get it as long as they get it, but I'm a little different. I mean, I have to have a connection before, you know, we do anything like that. That's just me. You know, I'm not one of them people that anything walking that's going to give me opportunity, I'm going for it. That's just never was me. And that has literally saved my life on many occasions. And here is the story that I was about to tell you about that's really personal. One of the bands that I first, I didn't co-found that band, I was recruited. And it was just the kind of band I was looking for in the 80s, kind of the Times type of band. We dressed nice, we had dance steps, and you know, the band was tight. And we had 3 lead singers. And one of the lead singers, who I won't give name, of course, but you know, after the show, these women would come up and hand out numbers and all that. And like I said, I kind of just backed off that. And one of the members, he was one of those guys where, you know, if you offer it, he'll take it. And all of a sudden, 3 months later, he started to get real thin. And it's like, what's going on? I'm dealing with bronchitis, but I'll be okay. He passed away about 6 months later. And I never forget the very last show we did because I taped it. Actually, one of my people that came to the show taped it as I was performing. And he weighed no more than about 70 pounds, 70, 80 pounds. And he was so weak that during during the show, sometimes he would have to sit down in the audience with a wireless mic and sing his parts. He was just that weak. And he passed away, and his mother eventually told us that he had AIDS. And for those who don't know how devastating that disease is, when you hear about it and maybe somebody you know died from it, you don't realize that there's a domino effect, meaning that they got infected by somebody and they probably infected somebody else. And this particular person had a girlfriend, and apparently he was being unfaithful with these women that we know were coming up on stage doing our gigs. And she was a heavyset woman, and she died like a year later as a result of that. So it's not a joke out there. You know, you have to be careful about who you decide you're going to be with, and don't just take every offer that's given to you. But I'm going to end this video on that note, and I'm going to do a series of these videos as far as some of the studio tales, some of the touring tales, and things that you might learn from, and to avoid some of these things. So, and until next time, this is Morris, man. Take care.